could change a state's name that is hundreds of years old overnight is not thinking it through.
It was part of Rhode Island's name for centuries, but nearly 4 years ago, after a summer of civil unrest, voters chose to change it and get rid of part of it. I'm Dan Janik.
And I'm Emily Bowles. The words Providence Plantations would be dropped, but you can see them at the State House still. The I-Team's Brian Crandall, he checked on the progress of those changes and got a first look at some of the plans. Brian?
Well, Emily and Dan, by a 6% margin, voters made that change back in 2020. What exactly it meant for the State House was unclear at the time, and I started asking the governor's administration about 6 months ago where plans stood there. I recently got a tour, an explanation of what's in store, what's being removed, and what's not. 3 words: and Providence Plantations, stricken from Rhode Island's name because of that last word.
The pain, the trauma that is associated with, of course, with our original sin and slavery.
If you take some time to look around the State House, you'll see the words still on display. Harrison Tuttle leads Black Lives Matter Rhode Island PAC.
So we would like for slavery to be acknowledged, for plantations where it makes sense to be removed. They're making progress on that.
What kind of progress?
Governor McKee is committed to ensuring that the will of the people is actualized.
Pastor Chris Abulame is the governor's deputy chief of staff.
So whatever is part of the building, we keep as part of the building. And whatever we can remove and replace, we will. The guiding principle here in doing this work is really to preserve the past, represent the present, and do no harm.
For example, the seal on the floor of the State House Rotunda, which most visitors walk past or can see at the heart of the Capitol, though it's been covered with a rug for a while.
You're affecting a legacy here.
Architect Christopher Valleca was hired to figure out what to do with the Rotunda seal.
We're not allowed to, nor would we advise pulling up the original seal or the words. This is a record of its time and place.
Instead, his plan is to place a new object on top of the part with the state name, recreating it using marble from the same quarry and identical brass letters, minus Providence Plantations. Like a raised ring that goes over the words?
Yes, sir. About an inch off the surface with a beveled edge.
That project is soon going out to bid for construction. This year's state budget includes $2.5 million to address the name change. A new rug for the stateroom has been ordered at $65,000 to replace the current one, which has 2 of the old state seals in its fabric. A granite seal on the ground outside the basement entrance door used by lawmakers and staffers is being replaced for roughly $30,000. New seals for elevator doors, 6 of them on each of the 2 elevators on each floor, have been ordered at a cost of $240,000. The solution for signage is cheaper. Blue and yellow stickers were recently placed over the old seal on all room door plates and other signs, instead of replacing them. But in some spots, Plantations is not going anywhere.
They're edged into the building itself. So removing them potentially will harm the building.
Seals at the top of the entrance foyer walls will stay uncovered. So will the engraving above the main entrance of the State House.
You don't think that defeats the purpose at all? About some of the more recognizable thing is right out front when you walk in and you still see that word that offends people.
No, I don't think it defeats the purpose. I think what is important here is the spirit behind the work that we're doing and the effort that is going into this.
It's not an erasure, because when you say erasure, you're talking, that's history you're erasing, and that's not the point here.
Teresa Stokes leads the Rhode Island Black Heritage Society and was on the committee of preservationists, historians, designers, and state officials that's been working on the issue for the last 18 months.
Stationary banners, the seal, those things needed to be changed. But things like historic buildings, historic artifacts, we can't change those. Those are things that it would cause harm to do that, and it causes a harm to our history.
A history that is changing over time.
You know, we're approaching 4 years since the voters made this decision. What do you say about the pace?
If they had done it any faster, I think they would have caused harm, and it would not have been a thoughtful approach. Anyone who thinks that we could change a state's name that is hundreds of years old overnight is not thinking it through. They're not, then it becomes a cover-up.
What do you think about how long it's taken?
Well, certainly, when we look at how long it's taken, it's more than just 4 years. We should have done this a long time ago, but I don't want to dwell on that. I think the most important thing is we're making progress right now.
I'm absolutely satisfied where we're at, the decisions that we collectively made, and the implementation of it at the time that it took.
Now, some of that work is expected to be completed this summer. Other parts will take longer. I'm Brian Crandall, NBC 10 News.